And we're live. We're back. We're back with Will Leach. Will.
Hello, Steve. What? How are you?
Great. You look great. I'm Steve Brown, your host, and Will Leach is the author of this book, Marketing to Mindstates, the practical guide to applying behavior design to research and marketing. And if you don't have this book, you're behind, because guess what? What's the biggest challenge every leader faces? It's getting the message in here, packaged nice and easy and clear for all the people they want to serve to understand. And guess what this book does? It teaches you how to do it better. That's right. So if you're doing marketing, if you're leading others, you need this book. And by the way, thanks for being here, Will. So today our topic on the Mindstate Marketing Hour is why you're not getting the positive lift you want from your marketing campaigns. Seems like maybe something you've experienced.
I've had my share of marketing that has gone wrong in many different phases of my career. And I had a conversation with a company just about a week and a half ago, which made me think about, that question. And that's not an easy question to answer. And I don't want you to think out there that I have the three things that, of course, now all of your marketing is going to go much better. But I do want to go back a bit to just some basic blocking and tackling, because that's what I did with this client. So I'll tell you a little bit about that and tell you some things I told my client and see if this helps you.
Well, speaking of blocking and tackling, tell us why. Let's say we're listening for the first time. Why did you write this book? What did you see needed to be done?
That's right. I was working as a research director at PepsiCo, working on a series of brands, and my job was to help create the consumer insights needed to drive brand innovation as well as sales and engagement, advertising. And what I was noticing was that I was reading all but the science behind marketing, but yet those sciences weren't making its way into advertising, into marketing. Why? Because there is a huge divide between the people that study human behavior and the people who activate on human behavior, the ad agencies out there, the brand managers out there. There's just a huge divide because they don't speak the same language. When I saw that there's this gap, I decided to write the book, Marketing to Mindstates, to help brand managers, agencies, small business owners understand how to activate on people's non-conscious to get them to listen, care, and act. All these sciences are telling us that the vast majority of human behaviors are made at the non-conscious decision-making systems. And so if you don't understand how the non-conscious works, then your marketing is always going to be suboptimal.
That's right. That's what I loved about this book is when I saw it, because, marketing is always kind of treated like this ditzy little cheerleader that is cute and fun to talk to until it's time to do real business. But now more than ever, companies, businesses, organizations are realizing they need to have their messaging act together. And so when I realized that, generally what's wrong with marketing is we design one message to fit all. Yep. But what your book reveals, that's the wrong way to go about it. We approach decisions in certain states of mind. And if you're smart and you understand that, then your messaging would reflect that. So thanks for writing that book.
Thank you, sir. I got it.
So, okay, on the Mindstate Marketing Hour today, why you're not getting positive lift in your marketing. I've done marketing campaigns that were embarrassing, but that's how you learn, right?
Well, I don't know. See, you're right. And the mentality nowadays you hear from so many people is that, hey, there's a lot of art in marketing and you just got to get out there and try stuff and learn and try stuff and learn and try stuff and learn. And that has been what companies have been doing forever. The issue, though, is that there is science that can help you learn a lot faster to give you something that you can kind of base your marketing on. It's called behavioral psychology and behavioral sciences. So it allows you to not just kind of throw stuff at the board, though there is some amount of trial and error in all of marketing to know what works specifically for your customer. But you can start light years ahead of everybody else if you start from a base. So that's why marketing to Mindstates, that's why behavioral psychology, behavioral sciences are so important in marketing.
All right. So we got three things we want to cover today. So Number one, why 3? Why not 72?
But here's what it was. The conversation started last week, and I had a brand. You guys would know, I can't say the name of the brand, but they're a challenger brand. And what that means is that they're not the most used brand in their category, but they're second. And then there's a lot of smaller, very small companies below them. But they are not even close to the market share as the dominant market brand. So they want to go after a brand new customer that they've never gone after. And they think they can steal share from the dominant brand. So my client was asking, okay, so we want to get better in our marketing. We want to do this. We want to do this Mindstate marketing stuff. So, we want to spend a bunch of money understanding the psychological mind states of this new target. And so I just started asking some very basic questions like, okay, let's talk about the new target. What do you know about them? Let's talk about your challenger brand. How do people think about that challenger brand? Like, what associations come up? What are they known for? What of the dominant brand? What are they known for? And all these questions I was asking was kind of met with silence because all they saw was a market opportunity. We want to go with a much higher end client, has a lot of disposable income, and they knew none of the blocking and tackling. And I said to them, I said, guys, it doesn't matter how much psychology we embed in your messaging. If we don't understand some basic blocking and tackling, then, or some basic metrics, then we're going to be throwing stuff on the wall, just like I told you not to do. So after that conversation, I was actually saying, don't use me yet. Honestly, I was like, you're not in a position where you need to use psychology. That's what dawned on me thinking, there's probably a lot of business owners right now who are trying to find the next new thing, the next new technology, the next new science book or whatever that's going to make them a better marketer. And sometimes we have to take a step back just to make sure we have our blocking and tackling stuff ready to go before you start thinking about the psychology. I'm going to show you how to merge the two in this discussion, but it's important for you to have these basic ideas down pat. So I just came up with the top 3 that made sense to me.
All right. So number 1.
Very classic. I know you guys are like, Will, come on. Are you kidding me? Like, you're not targeting the right people. And I'm going to tell you a story about how this worked to me. So first off, I think that when you're trying to build a business, I believe that you can do it 2 ways. One is you can either build a product for a target, or you can find a target for your product. I know the second part sounds very controversial because everyone tells you don't build a product, then find the market. I'm telling you that is okay in some instances. Now, is there more risk for you to build a new product without knowing exactly who your target is? Of course there is. But there's also a lot of inventors out there. There are people that stumble into something that's amazing and they know there's something there, but then they have to just go find the marketplace. That was a bit similar to what I did. So yes, there is more risk if you develop your product without knowing who you're developing it for. But if you do it you actually have faster R&D costs. You're faster to market. Why? Because you already have the technology there. You already have your program built. You already have your coaching program built. So now you have to go find the right people. So how do you do that? What you do first is you figure out what problems can my technology solve? What problems can my new chip solve? My new restaurant? Like, what is that problem that it can solve? Irrespective of who you think you're marketing it to, just figure out what problems it solves. When you do that, just write them down on a sheet of paper, and you're going to start seeing some similarities. It helps growth. It helps people have happier experiences. It helps fill people's bellies. Whatever that is, figure out what that problem solves. Then who really has that problem? Who has that problem? Go backward and say, well, who has that issue that wants to have a satisfying experience? That may be how you get to the right person. So let me tell you how I did it with my company, because I fell into this trap, and it takes a little bit of time to get through it. I built a new technology. It was a methodology called marketing to mind states. It was a better way of marketing to people by using subconscious factors. So I believed when I had the methodology out that my first target should be ad agencies. Why? Because I thought to myself, well, they're the people who are producing the ads. So if they're producing the marketing content for the most part, I should go to ad agencies. And I found out quickly that though the technology was great for helping develop ads, agencies weren't the right customer. Why? Because they didn't want my technology. They had something of their own. Great. After that, I said, well, who's next? I went to brand managers. Why? Because they're responsible for good advertising. What I found out very quickly is brand managers, the people who run Doritos or the people who run, some kind of a soft drink brand or whatever, they rely on agencies to do the advertising. So they're not really doing the ads. They're just approving ads. So then I said, okay, they're the wrong target. Then I went to small businesses because they're kind of responsible for both. They're responsible for the numbers, but they're also generally responsible for the advertising. That was a nice market because that group there, I had a technology that would solve their problem. I want to grow businesses. And how can I do that? By using something that makes them differentiated in market. That was an idea where I had the technology, I had a methodology, I have a program, I have a book. Now I found the target. So you have to figure out if you're targeting the right people. And sometimes that's trial and error, but that might be faster doing it this way than kind of going the traditional, find a target market that's underserved and then figure out what they need and then build from there.
I found that when I originally started my agency, the folks that I was thinking I needed to market to, eventually it turned out that was wrong. And it's just a part of the experience. We have this vision of what's going on, but after we have some interactions, if we back up and really evaluate it, then it becomes obvious. It's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah. But we've all fallen into that. You and I are experts, right? We're considered, you have a book, I have a book. We're considered experts in the industry, and we've all fallen into it. Because even with all the information we have to this world, we talk about the human mind is so complex. Businesses are so complex. The industries are so complex that we're all going to make mistakes. So if you're out there thinking like, how can I possibly get to that level? Even the experts are at that level. That's why we see advertising so ineffective in marketing. It's the fact. Why? Because humans are very complex.
Yeah. So then I realized who it was we needed to market to. But then sitting and designing the messaging, that was like a big, giant challenge. And here we're experts, but guess what's the hardest project to work on? Your own.
That's right. It is the worst. It's funny you said that, Steve, because I've told some of my clients, and you guys could do it out there. I don't know how you would, but I'm sure you could. If you went back to the way I was messaging in January of last year, and you looked at my messaging now, you are going to see a totally different thing. And I can tell you in January, I thought I was doing the right thing. I was like, this message is so clear. It's so perfect. And you find out it's not. So we've all been there. The point is you got to get better at it, smarter, and your clients are going to evolve anyways. So you might as well just evolve with them by at least, starting with an understanding of who you're marketing to.
So how do we get that dialed in, Will?
Yeah. So, the second thing is, okay, so let's say if you now know, who you're targeting the right person. The next thing I would tell you is your message has to be clear, because if your message is unclear, you're not getting the potential that you could be getting. You're not getting the attention of your customers. So there's this misnomer out there that when we say clarity of message, like it's very simple. I've got to use simpler words and I have to be more clear and direct with the messaging. Yes, but here's what I mean by that. Did you know that your customers, every one of us out there, makes anywhere between we're seeing between 6 and 10,000 advertisements every day? Not brand impressions, advertisements. Depending on how much time you're on social media, depending on how much time you're online, your customers are seeing so many commercials. So the first thing you do for clarity, right, would be thinking to yourself, I have to use simpler messaging. That's fine, and you should start there. Clarity in message is really, really important. Be very singular in your focus. Don't use jargon, all the things that, of course, you know about, though we tend to find that we don't do that very well. But you have to be clear. I guess I'm not so sold that that's the only thing you can do. Why? So imagine 100-calorie snack packs. Like when I say 100-calorie snack packs, the vast majority of people out there know exactly what I'm talking about. It is a snack that has only enough product in there, enough snacks for 100 calories. An incredibly simple message. Now, you would think that, yes, that message alone will get me breakthrough, but it doesn't. It doesn't, because there are other brands that are very clear as well. So you have to be clear and you have to be relevant. And how do you become relevant? So you can become relevant by understanding the aspirations of your customer that you're serving. And we talk about this in the book, Marketing Mindstates. It's called aspirational goals. It's the higher order goals. When you are clear with your message, and in your message, you are telling your customer how you will help them reach their emotional needs, their aspirational goals, you are much more likely to break through, not just because your message is simple, but it's meaningful. So as you're out there thinking, you hear the classic advice, whether it's from Don Miller or whatever, saying we got to get very clear in messaging. Yes, but The but is it also has to be relevant, and the relevancy comes from understanding your customer's aspirations.
Yeah, that's I think where it really started to make sense to me when you think about their aspirational image, meaning where they desire to go. And this is a goal. This is something they really have thought about a bunch. There is this risk that they may not get there.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes them feel insecure. It makes them feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not sure if I can get there.
Yep.
And your message needs to address and acknowledge that. Not necessarily in this blatant, obvious way,
mm-hmm.
but they need to feel, hey, he's picking up what I'm really wanting to accomplish.
Mm-hmm. I think you say it a lot, Steve, is that there's general mistrust out there. There's an avoidance to marketing and sales because it's been done so badly for so many years. So if you know that your customer already has an avoidance to being sold to and there's mistrust, how do you make them trust you and your message? You speak in the same language and you speak to how your company will help them reach their aspirations. And that can't help but resonate with people because it's all we all want to go towards our aspirations. So it says in the book that a goal is defined by where you are today to where you are in the future. That goal, that distance is what your customers want from you. They want you to help them get closer to their aspirations. So if you can help them, if you can tell them, here's how you will be, the aspiration, here's who you will be if you use my product, that is meaningful to people. So don't talk about how you necessarily will get them there. That'll come later on. But if you focus on you will look like this, you will feel like this, that aspiration, you are going to break through the clutter because so many other people talk about here's why you should buy my product. Here's what I can do for you. Here are my features. Those could be very simple 100-calorie snack packs, but they do not tell you who you're going to be after you buy the product or after you use the product. That's why you want to blend in those aspirational goals with clarity of message, bring them together, and you're going to break through that clutter.
You know, when you say that, it doesn't tell you who you want to be, but I think we feel who we want to be in a way, and it needs to acknowledge that we're supporting you on the way to being what you want to be, where you see yourself in the future.
I like the word you said, support, too, right? Because you and I come from the same school of thought that so many companies out there say, we're the hero. If you buy us, good things will happen to you. And you're talking about yourself as the solution. And I think what we're finding in narrative psychology for sure is that your customer feels like their own hero. They don't want you to be their hero. They want you to be the support. Your customers want you to be the guide to help them reach their goals. But everybody wants to feel like they're the hero in their own story. So I love this idea of signaling to your customers that you are here to support them and encourage them for them to reach their goals. And when we reach our own goals, we feel more empowered. We feel better about ourselves. We feel happier. That's what we all aspire for anyways. So don't try to say that you are the solution. You're never a solution to your customer. You're not. You are a guide so that they can solve their own problems and they need you. So we've talked about this. They are Batman. You are the utility belt.
Yeah, not Robin, the utility belt. Yes.
You're the utility belt.
Okay, so we're talking about why we're not getting the positive lift we want from our marketing campaigns. It's frustrating, and everybody's experienced. So number 3, you don't have a clear call to action that tells people what they need to do. Why something so obvious? Well,
I know. So, when you read all, the psychological books, even my book, what we do is we tend to create a theoretical model, which I've done. And you create a model for how to get people to take an action. So in my book, Marketing to Mind States, I have 4 steps, if you will. You first understand people's aspirations and you activate on their aspirations in your marketing. You figure out their motivations and you prime that motivation in your marketing. You then figure out how to lower resistance. So you place that into frames. And then lastly, you trigger a behavior. So people get really excited because they think of it like that. They kind of think of it as you have to go step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. But I'm here to tell you that actually, when I advise my own customers, small businesses out there, I say, don't start at step 1, understanding people's aspirations. That's actually not that easy to do. Like, you have to really think it through. You've got to talk to a lot of people. You have to really be in tune and empathetic with your customer. What I'm telling you to do is start at step 4. which is just simply tell your customers what you want them to do and when to do it. It's called a call to action. So about a decade ago, maybe a little longer, calls to action like buy now, order yours today, kind of became almost like icky for a lot of advertisers. They didn't want to do that because it just felt slimy. What we want to do is we want to create this incredible engagement where I understand the brand so well and I have this deep personal connection so that when I need the product, that brand will come to mind. It's called building brand preference. The problem with building brand preference is it does not drive sales at all. Or maybe what it does is when somebody needs that product, they may think of you. May. See how many mays I just said? That's scary. What your job to do if you want to drive your business is say, buy my stuff. If you do, you'll reach your aspirations. So at the very end, you need to have what we call a clear call to action. Guys, if you're making 35,000 decisions in every single day, the number one decision you make is not to decide. You do it all the time because there's so many decisions. What you have to do is tell your customers what to do and when to do it. Set their expectations. When you click here, you'll be taken to the site. When you click here, we will ship your product, whatever. But when you say, when you click here or click here today, it is the fastest way to grow sales, is just being very clear about a call to action.
Call to action. Speaking of, if you don't have Will's book, you need to get it today. You can learn more here at the Mindstate Marketing Group. So on the Mindstate Marketing Hour, Will, we're getting a lot of questions. It's becoming my favorite part. And I like to say I'm the smartest guy in marketing because I get to hang out with you every week, Will, and learn all this stuff. But here, we've got a couple of other questions, and these are good ones. So you ready?
I think so.
All right, here we go. So how do you use behavioral marketing to deliver a personalized experience at scale?
I think I know who may have written this. Well, I just had to, I was just asked this question last week or maybe early this week. So if you want to understand how to use behavioral marketing to deliver personalized experiences, there's kind of a stepwise process. First is you have to figure out the shopper journey. Now that's maybe a new term that you haven't heard about, but a shopper journey is understanding all the points of contact one of your customers goes through before they buy a product, when they buy your product, and then after your product. So you have to map that out. It's actually relatively easy to do. It sounds sophisticated, but you just have to figure out where these touch points are. After that, you're going to want to start thinking about what channels or what technology or whatever do I have at my disposal to activate on that specific touch point, the most important ones as well. Third, after you do that is let's start thinking by touch point, what should that message look like, right? Create your campaign. After that, now you have to launch your marketing. And that's kind of this idea. You have to launch your marketing and then capture data. The most important part of using behavioral data is capturing that data, cleaning that data, making sure the data makes sense. And lastly, now that you have data, you know what's working, what's not. Start doing experimental design or basically do A/B testing to figure out how to optimize that one specific point in that shopper's journey. If you do that, you're going to understand how to deliver personalized experiences by touch point at scale at best.
All right, here's a good one. Someone's working on their thesis and they want a little advice. What consumer behavior marketing research topics should I consider?
Yeah, if I was going to go back to school and do my master's in marketing research, I would look probably at 3, maybe 4 areas that at least I'm passionate about. And I know that there's a lot of momentum in the marketing research area or in the industry to study these things. The first thing is impulsivity. So getting somebody, understanding the psychological nuances that it takes to get somebody to buy something that otherwise they weren't expecting to buy. So just purely hot state messaging, impulsivity. The next thing I would look at is behavioral design, which is a broader topic, but it's understanding how to design marketing in a way that drives human behavior. Huge in the marketing research space. Every company out there wants to create experiences that drive sales. Third, speaking of experiences, and this is a little bit older, is experience design. I would be thinking about how to use marketing research to drive experiences, whether that experience is an outdoor event or whether it's on your website, but it's all an experience anyways. So where behavioral design can focus on product innovation, experience design can focus more on those touch points we just talked about in shopper journeys. And lastly, I would study mind states, right? I think that it is an under-leveraged tool that more and more marketers are going to want to have, and more researchers are going to want to know. Understanding those non-conscious processes that are going on when people are making decisions. If you understand those, you're going to be much better researcher and marketer. So if I was going to do kind of my thesis, I would be focused on those 4 different areas.
Awesome. Excellent answers there, Will. All right, next. So why are marketers particularly interested in post-purchase behavior?
Yeah. So it's funny because I think a lot of people out there believe that I got to study how to get somebody to buy my product. And that's true. But they don't think about post-purchase behavior. And that is a very serious fundamental flaw in your thinking. If you're not thinking about post-purchase behaviors, here's why. Post-purchase behaviors give you a window into how successful your business is going to be. It just is. Let me give you an example. Imagine that you're in Silicon Valley and you've developed this new app. And it happens all the time, by the way, guys. You have a new app and you get somebody to download that app. It happens. And it's actually not too difficult, honestly, if you have enough money to get people to download an app. It's not too difficult at all. You know what is difficult? Getting people to come back to that app and make it a habit. That's post-purchase behavior. Why that matters to you as a business owner is that if you can get somebody to buy your product one time, but you can't get them to buy your product again and again, it's called frequency. And if you don't have frequency, you run yourself into a trap where you're constantly trying to find new customers to fill in your pipeline. It is much more expensive and more difficult, more timely, it takes more time to get somebody to buy your product in the first place than it is to get that same person who bought you one time to buy you a second time and a third time and a fourth time. That's why you want to be focused on past or post-purchase behavior. Because if you find that they're not buying your product again, they're not getting repeat, or you're not getting frequency of purchases, you have a window now that tells you that your company will be out of business in the future if you don't solve for that.
Excellent, Will. So tell us a little bit about the Mindstate Marketing Masterclass.
That's right, everybody. So a couple of months ago, I decided to create a masterclass, which allows you to take the concepts in the book, Marketing to Mind States, and bring it to life for your company. So what the masterclass does is it's a video-based program. It's about 12 hours worth of content of me teaching you the specific details within the book, Marketing to Mind States, going more in depth, but also running you through a very specific case study where we designed a brand from the ground up using Marketing to Mind States. So it allows you to go through this whole series of videos to understand how to drive your business growth using behavioral sciences. It's a very nice do-it-yourself option. If you're out there, you read the book, you're interested in the book, you want to apply it to your business, really easy course for you to download, and you get started on that today if you wanted to.
Awesome. Excellent lesson today.
Thanks.
Professor Will.
I know. Hey, now we got to give the viewers out there the big news, right? There's some big news. Do. All right. So Steve Brown has been showing you a book for years, not years, but it seems like a long time. He's been showing you the Marketing to Mind States book, but as of just yesterday, look what I got here, Steve. Do you believe it?
Wow.
It's the new revised edition of Marketing to Mind States, newly updated for 2021. So if you want to learn more and get the latest information on Marketing to Mind States, it's in the new book. We have new downloads. We have new resources that are on our website. But I also made the book clearer. We just talked about clarity in marketing, right? I just made some of the concepts clearer. So anyways, if you want to download that book, it's available on Kindle. You can buy it in Barnes & Noble. You can buy it all over the place. And I listened to you. I listened to all the people out there that were like, Will, I don't read books. That's not what I do. I'm more of an audio guy. So actually, I put the book up on Audible. So you can actually now download not only from your Kindle, but you can download Marketing to Mind States for Audible and all the other different audiobook software companies out there.
All right, show us that again.
This is
the first time I've seen this, right?
Yep. Yours. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Steve, yours is coming. It's I just got this yesterday, so I posted it. I should be getting a few more, and I do not want you to buy a book. I'm sending you your book right to you with a nice note in there. So don't buy it, but yes. Marketing to Mind States. If you're confused, if you went onto Amazon and you saw this book, this is the book that you want to be buying. The other one's fine too, but I don't think it's even available. It's actually might be like a collector's edition one day. Who knows? The first edition, so this is the second edition.
I can't wait to get it. So is there a call to action in that book?
There is a call to action. What you will find is that we added more resources on marketing. The mindstategroup.com. So it's going to tell you to go to the mindstategroup.com. Thank you. And there's a lot more free downloads out there. It's much more specific after every chapter on what you can go do to optimize all the concepts or clarify all the concepts in that chapter. So yeah, new calls to action, new downloads. The old stuff is fine, guys. If you have the old book, awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. But here, I got to ask you this one question, Steve. So I put this out on my Facebook page, my Facebook group. What do you think about the hands, man?
I like them. I was sitting there looking at if that was comfortable to have gloves that snap.
That's tight, right?
Yeah.
So this is, I'm telling you, I'm getting mixed reactions on the gloves. I think it's the magician, the magic behind marketing. Like, to me, it's so intuitive. And I'm getting comments like, oh, those gloves are really white. Like this is the power of psychology, right? What I take out of these gloves, somebody could take something else totally different. But anyways, this is the one, the white gloves. It is my white glove treatment for my customers to get the latest in consumer psychology to make your business grow. So if you're apt to go and you want to go buy a new book, that's the new one. Okay.
I love it. So that it draws your eye to it. Okay. Right. So imagine your book sitting there at one of those airport bookstores, right? And people walk by. The first thing that your book has to do is win their attention. And that's what happens with an image. And the next thing, their eye goes up, marketing the mind states.
That's right.
And so it's just like it's working. You got to get their attention. Then you got to get them to zoom in and focus. And then you want them to read the back.
We should probably do a segment on that, because I've got a lot of neurovisual studies that I've done in the past that does exactly what you just said. And so how would you think about the design of a book or design of your website on drawing visual attention, and then how the human eye normally works, which is bring your eye over here, it reads your sub, and then it gets you, hopefully from this the sub sentence here, that it gets you to read more. There is science behind this, guys. We should probably do that. That's very practical stuff. Let's put it on our list of things to talk about. A lot of good studies on that.
All right. So we have, it goes in the books. Another great episode of the Mindstate Marketing Hour.
And thanks, guys, for participating too. I saw people were participating on LinkedIn and things like that. That's awesome. Get more of that. Good questions, guys. Good
questions. Be sure to submit your questions. Where should they submit their questions?
Well, one of the first places they could do is submit directly to me on LinkedIn, or if you join the Mindstate Marketing Society on Facebook, you can actually submit your questions there as well. So LinkedIn or the Mindstate Group or the Mindstate Marketing Society.
All right. Well, that's another great episode. We'll see you next week at the same bat channel, the same bat time. Okay. Think about that marketing message that was so effective. Why was that effective? We'll discuss that in a future episode.
We will.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you again next week. Bye, Will.
Bye, guys.